Greetings, everyone. I'm back again after a few days away. This is Tigrila Gardenia, your interspecies researcher and biomimicry facilitator. It's interesting. I've been away for the last few days. I actually am in Vienna right now, traveling around for work. I spent the last 3 days in Vorarlberg, Austria, which is a beautiful area of the country, where we were having our European Biomimicry Alliance meeting, which was exciting and fun. It was my first year in the EBA having the meeting. This is a group that gets together once a year. It's a kind of just a good place to check in, have a conversation with lots of different biomimics here. We had representatives of Biomimicry Germany, Biomimicry Switzerland, several other individuals, one person from Denmark, and one of the beautiful things was an opportunity for the different people connected to Bioversum, the organization that I'm connected to actually get together and work through specifically biomimicry things. But one of the highlights of this visit was the fact that we went to the Alphabet der Lebens, which is the Alphabet of Life exhibit at the Werkum, which is this it's this exhibition space, and this is an exhibit dedicated to life's principles. If you've read, if you've been listening to me talk about biomimicry, you'll know that there's these 26 deep life principles, and these are all about things like fit, form to function. They're the way that life generates and sustains life. And there's a beautiful exhibit happening right now there that brings together these 26 life principles. It was curated by pretty much two members of Bioversum, Elizabeth Hoff and Regina Roland, and it was then run by, and then the architect, the main architect that was collaborating with them is another Bioversum person, Klaus Schäfer. So we have a good collection here of what is the talents of Bioversum. So it was really interesting to see this. We were able to meet with Dana Baumeister, which is Dana Baumeister is the co-founder of Biomimicry 3.8. And that's extremely exciting to finally meet her in person after, being connected to Biomimicry 3.8, taking courses with them, connecting through them through many of their alumni from the different teaching programs that they have, and to really be influenced in this area of biomimicry by her, by the work that her and Janine Benyus have done, and all of the dissemination they're doing of really looking to nature for nature's principles and for what are the ways that we can create life on Earth differently. But one of the things that Dana talked about that really touched me, I mean, I took so many notes over the last 3 days between ideas and structures and ways we can work together, and how do we bring not just biomimicry but circular innovation in general, so circular economy, cradle to cradle, circular design. And for me especially, I'm always looking at it with that angle of how do we bring in that co-creation with the plant world. So I feel like this little advocate there, while everybody's looking at organisms in general, I sort of always start with the plants and looking for solutions, looking for understanding of some of the deep problems that we're having in the world today. So it was extremely interesting to listen to Dana, who has now access to such a wide range of people who are working in biomimicry, to hear about some of the really interesting innovations coming out. And so we got to see in her presentation some of the latest and greatest biomimicry solutions that are being worked on in companies and universities. One of the takeaways for me that was extremely powerful was around mutualisms. I work a lot with teams. I facilitate meetings as well as team dynamics, really helping people develop their communications and branding strategy. This is kind of how I take the lessons of the plant world, the lessons of nature, connected in with my background in high tech, and incorporate and really bring that out into the world. And Dana talked about mutualisms, and mutualisms are, I'll give you the definition, sort of the kind of standard Wikipedia definition. Mutualisms are two-way organisms of different species that that are in a relationship in which each individual benefits from the activity of another. And so these are two individuals, two organisms, two whatever words you want to use. You can substitute humans for nature, for different organisms in nature. It doesn't matter. The point is that these are two separate entities that benefit from each other because each one does something the other one needs or wants, but that they can't do themselves. And this is really the future. I mean, the present it should be, but in some cases, unfortunately, the future of our business structures. When we talk about decentralization, you know, we talk about these transdisciplinary groups. We talk about these groups where there are multiple different types of discipline, where each one is highly specialized and highly talented and has a lot of expertise in what they're doing. And at the same time, they are complementing one another. And this is one of the things we really need to look for. The most successful teams are those that are created with mutualisms. They are those in which the individual parties recognize, not just have, but recognize the strengths of the others and think about how they can best use those strengths. So I don't have to know everything because I work with somebody else who knows things. And this is exactly like what the plants world does, right? We have plants with large root systems, mycelium networks that are connected to them, and they all have these different talents and these different skills. If you look at a forest, each tree has different aspects of what the amount of CO2 that they take in, the amount of phosphorus, the amount of nitrous, they have all these different characteristics, including with all the microbes and all the different insects, each one benefiting one for the other. I mean, animals are the ones that separate out, that disseminate the most amount of seeds, because the plant has learned that if they create their seeds in such a way, and there's many different types, but that's another message here. But if they have all these different types of seeds, if they create them based on what's best for the environment, then other beings will help them spread their seeds. And this is how plants move. So we think of them as static, which they're really not. They're sessile, but not only that, they migrate just the same as birds migrate. They might not go back and forth, but they do move. And they move because of these mutualisms, because they have discovered these ways of working together. So these mutualisms are sort of a core key component of what we should be looking at when we're creating a team. Gone are the days of the single person who does everything, because it's just not productive long term. It burns us out. It makes us, you know, really exhausted, and we end up doing a bunch of things we don't like to do. I remember when I was a kid, we had a woman who was a good friend of the family's, and she was an excellent house cleaner. And to be honest, she loved it. Like, we tend to think sometimes of certain types of positions as, you know, oh, these are the things nobody wants to do. These are the things I have to do because I have to do them. But it's actually not true. There is always somebody out there who loves to do that. I have a really good friend who loves numbers and accounting and some of these things that are difficult, and other people who, for example, really love marketing, or people who really love the science in a deep way, and others that really love the process. The most important aspect is for you to really find these mutualisms to create your team. And if you're really looking for this type of thing, if you want to understand how, feel free to contact me. Let's talk about it, because there are so many ways to create that ideal team and to create the network of people that can really help you be successful in whatever it is you're doing. And this is part of that interspecies, you know, communication. That interspecies is us learning from the plant world in that way, from us learning from the other beings. And this is part of what is biomimicry. This is part of what is interspecies. And this is why we study nature, to learn better ways for us, who we as humans are a part of nature, for us to develop ourselves in harmony and to be able to reach our goals in a sustainable way, both sustainable environmentally as well as sustainable for our own health and happiness. So there you are, a little tip for today. Mutualisms, an important word for you. So I hope you have a beautiful day, evening, night, whatever it is that it is, wherever you are in the world. Would love to hear your feedback on whether or not you are in a mutualism, like in relation to your own team members for work, or relation to your friends and groups and community groups that you've created. Would love to just hear some feedback from you on this topic, and whether or not you find that mutualisms is one of those key components for creating successful, happy, and sustainable teams. Have a beautiful day. This is Tigrila Gardenia. You can always find me here on Facebook. You can find me on Steemit. You can find me on all these different platforms. And you can also find me on my website, www.tigrilagardenia.com. Have a beautiful day.